Namaskar and welcome to Sansad Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our show House Highlights, where we bring you details of day's development in both houses of parliament. Let's begin with the headlines first. Parliament approves 1.42 lakh crore rupees budget for Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir for 2022-23 after Rajya Sabha returns the relevant bills to Lok Sabha. Government sets target of nearly tripling total passenger traffic by 23-24 to 40 crore. Union Minister Sinha says 2 new airlines, Jet and Akasa, to launch services soon. And both houses of parliament disrupted over protests by opposition members demanding a discussion on fuel prices. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu says issue can't be discussed under Rule 267. Parliament pays homage to freedom fighters Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev on Martyrdom Day. Both the houses observe silence as a mark of respect. And now the news in detail. The Parliament on Wednesday approved rupees 1.42 lakh crore rupees budget for the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir for 2022-23, with Rajya Sabha returning the relevant bills to Lok Sabha. The Lok Sabha had passed the bills on 14th of March. The Upper House returned the bills, the Jammu and Kashmir Appropriation Bill 2022 and the Jammu and Kashmir Appropriation Number 2 Bill 2022. The appropriation bills are classified as money bills that do not require the explicit consent of Rajya Sabha. The Upper House only discusses the bills and returns them to the Lok Sabha. Replying to the nearly 4-hour-long discussion on the appropriation bills on Jammu and Kashmir, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that after the abrogation of Article 370, terror-related activities have declined in Jammu and Kashmir and an environment for investment has been created.
There's been a 33% drop in infiltration, 51 in 2020 versus 34 in 2021. So 33% drop in infiltration, 90% decrease in ceasefire violations, 937 in 2020 versus 98 in 2021. 61% decline in terrorism-related incidents, where in 2020 we had 244, in 2021 we've had 229. 80% decline in abductions by terrorists. Again, abductions in 2020 were 10 and in 2021 are just 2. 33% decline again in number of police and security personnel who were martyred. 63 it was in 2020 versus 42 it was in 2021. And number of active terrorists from 222 on as of 1st January 2021 to a reduction and coming down to the figure of 188 in January 1st, 2022. So there was no incident of weapon snatching in 2021 and even in 2022 as far as now. So if these are showing decline in those kind of activities which have troubled the J&K for a very long time, post Article 370 removal and in 2021 in particular, this is the statistics which I would like to place before this Honorable House. So terrorists being neutralized, active terrorists being neutralized is also a very important index on the basis of which we assess what prevails in J&K. 180 terrorists, 148 of them being locals and 32 being foreigners, including 44 top commanders were eliminated in 2021.
Meanwhile, the government is planning to build 220 new airports by 2025. Replying to the demand for grants 2022-23 in the Lok Sabha today, Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia said that the government has set a target of nearly tripling total passenger traffic by 23-24 to 40 crore. He added that the government has brought about a structural change in the sector in the last 2 years and will now focus on inclusion, access and affordability to increase demand among the common man.
नागर विमानन क्षेत्र में जहां एक प्रत्यक्ष रोजगार का अवसर उत्पन्न होता है, वहीं 6 दिसंबर 1 अप्रत्यक्ष रोजगार के अवसर उत्पन्न होते हैं। मतलब कि एम्प्लॉयमेंट मल्टीप्लायर इस क्षेत्र का करीब करीब 1:6.1 का रेशियो है। 2014 तक अध्यक्ष महोदय हमारे देश में 74 एयरपोर्ट्स बने थे और पिछले 7 सालों में हमारे क्षेत्र में 66 नए एयरपोर्ट्स बने हैं। मतलब वो 74 अब 140 बन चुका है। मतलब करीब करीब उस कैपेसिटी को हमने डबल की है। और उसी के साथ हमारा ये संकल्प है कि ये जो 140 का आंकड़ा आज है, 2025 तक इस आंकड़े को हम 220 तक ले जाकर आपके समक्ष रखेंगे। ये हम आपको विश्वास दिलाते हैं। एयरपोर्ट्स और हेलीपोर्ट्स मिलाकर उत्तराखंड में 9 एयरपोर्ट्स और हेलीपोर्ट्स 7 साल के अंदर। महाराष्ट्र 2014 के पहले महाराष्ट्र में 4 विमानतल थे। आज उसी महाराष्ट्र में 14 विमानतल है अध्यक्ष। विनिवेश में बिल्ड ऑपरेट एंड ओन मॉडल चलाया जाता है और लीजिंग स्ट्रक्चर में बिल्ड ऑपरेट ओन एंड ट्रांसफर बैक का मॉडल चलता है।
वापस भी आएगा।
और चौथा अंतर अध्यक्ष महोदय कि प्राइवेटाइजेशन में वो स्थायी साधन आप भारत सरकार को कभी वापस नहीं आएगा। लीजिंग स्ट्रक्चर में 50 साल के बाद वो एयरपोर्ट जो भी इंप्रूवमेंट्स प्राइवेट पार्टी उस पर करेगी वो निःशुल्क वापस भारत सरकार की बौपत्ती वापस बन जाएगी।
Lok Sabha took up discussion and voting on the demand for grants for the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for 2022-23 today. Let's listen in to some of the key speakers who put forth their views during the discussion.
The commercial crops and spices produced in India are facing steep fall in price, and the farmers are on the verge of suicide due to the price fall. There is no mention in this budget to help the farmers of cardamom, pepper, and other spices, and plantation crops like rubber, coffee, tea, and cashew.
It was infected with corruption and had a policy paralysis in decision making. The achievement of this government, that was of UPA government, was to collapse the public-private partnership model for infrastructure, huge bank losses, and loss of investment projects for the country, and even the SEZ. Even in the SEZ.
11 industrial corridors which have been taken up under this head. And we also have one in Andhra Pradesh, the Vizag-Chennai Industrial Corridor with 5 nodes at Visakhapatnam, Machilipatnam, Donakonda, and Airport Srikalahasti. So we request the government to give the full allocation of 3,000 crores, what NIGDIT has asked, because it should not slow down the projects at this juncture.
What is the position and the situation of these export-import items, and which items are still yet ones who have dominated the world market once? Where do they stand now? I come from a state, West Bengal, that tea is one of the best items, you know, madam, Darjeeling tea by name.
मैं आपसे कहना चाहता हूं कि जो लोग कई साथी संसद में भी बिहार के विशेष राज्य के दर्जा जब मांग करते हैं तो कहते हैं कि क्या फ़ायदा है, स्पेशल आप पैकेज मांगिए। मुझे लंबे समय के लिए विशेष राज्य का दर्जा का मांग करते रहता हूं कि बिहार पिछड़ा है।
The leather sector has good potential to create employment, contribute to exports and pave the way for exponential growth. As there is mention of the schemes related to leather and footwear sector for the year 22-23, the ministry may consider extending the production-linked incentive to leather sector as well. The department has been able to utilize only 37.4% of the allocation after enhancing the allocation at reverse estimate stage for the Startup India program.
Attempting to promote exports, however, the allocated amounts have been decreased for very crucial heads like marine products exports, which is a very important export growth potential for a state like Odisha, where we have massive potential for marine product export, as well as the tea export, which is again, there's been a slump in the tea export, which again is one of India's significant flagship export items.
I said that the allocation to the plantation sector is low. You would appreciate it. You come from a state which has got lots of plantation sectors there. And they are going to force people, the small plantation grower, to move out of this sector. The benefits which agriculture gets is not given to the plantation sector, and it is incumbent upon the government to explain why plantation is different from agriculture.
1 acre at Ratwad, Taluka Mangaon in Raigad district is made available for this this mega leather project. I sincerely urge Honorable Minister and learned Cabinet to kindly approve the new scheme footwear, leather and accessories development program at earliest. I once again thank
rich exporters. But I say in this House, I want to allay all apprehensions. I say with all conviction at my command that the exports from India are closely linked with employment and job creation. I underscore, all exports of the country are closely linked with employment and job creation.
I have to bring some bitter experience of exports related to seafood, kaya and cashew. As we all know, the seafood exporting industry is a major contributor to the country's forex reserve and plays a major role in generating employment for women in almost all coastal states, including Kerala. They are facing the problem of 4 or 5-fold increase in ocean freight charge.
साइबर लॉ की कमी, प्राइवेसी और सुरक्षा संबंधित भुगतान और टैक्स से संबंधित डिजिटल साक्षरता और उपभोक्ता की समझ, वायरस की समस्या और अंत में बताना चाहूँगा कि सॉफ्टवेयरों का इंग्लिश में होना आदि.
Government is proposing to repeal the Rubber Act 1947, and it is circulated. The new bill is circulated. We were given the time up to January 21st. Now the opinions can be given up to 8th of April. So our humble request is that there should be some changes in the provisions of the proposed bill.
पर्यावरणीय दृष्टि से बहुत नुकसान हो रहा है. इसके दुष्प्रभावों से वहाँ कई प्रकार की बीमारियाँ फैल रही. इसके लिए संबंधित कंपनी उद्योग समूह को ध्यान देने की आवश्यकता है. वहाँ के लोगों को उचित मुआवजा दिया जाए. स्थानीय लोगों को रोजगार न दिया जाकर बाहरी लोगों को भर्ती किया जा रहा है, जिससे वहाँ के लोगों का आर्थिक जीवन यापन मुश्किल हो गया. उनकी ज़मीनों को पानी की कमी, ज़मीन बंजर हो गई, किसानों का जीवन यापन संकट में हो गया.
Industrial infrastructure upgradation schemes. You are talking about industry so much. I appreciate that. But the point is that there's a mismatch between what your aims are and the funds allocated are. There were 7 approved projects by your government, out of which only, according to the standing committee report, only 1 is done. So 7 are left just high and dry.
The workers in tea plantations live in abject poverty. They don't have access to good water. They don't have access to good education. This 1,000 crore, I welcome it. I welcome it. Provided they spend it on sanitation, provided they spend it on education, provided they spend it on electricity, provided they spend it on hygiene and maternal health, because that's the problem of tea plantation workers. But where is that?
हमारी जो ट्रेड पॉलिसी है, उसका मुख्य लक्ष्य यही है कि धीरे धीरे आगे बढ़कर जो अपॉर्चुनिटी हमें सारे संसार के अंदर प्राप्त हों, हमें उन्हें ग्रैब करना है.
Meanwhile, the upper house also took up the discussion on the working of Ministry of Railways. Member cutting across party lines took part in this discussion.
मान्यवर औसत वार्षिक पूंजीगत 2019-9 से 14 के दौरान 45,914 करोड़ रुपए प्रतिवर्ष रेलवे पर व्यय होता था, जिसे 14 से 21 तक बढ़ाकर 1,14,000 करोड़ प्रतिवर्ष का परिव्यय निर्धारित खर्च किया गया. मान्यवर इतना ही नहीं, 2014 से 2021 तक और 2022-23 के लिए 2,45,000 करोड़ रुपए की उच्चतम पूंजीगत व्यय परिव्यय आवंटित किया गया है रेलवे के लिए. मान्यवर जो रिकॉर्ड है अब तक कि 2,45,000 करोड़ का परिवहन रेलवे के लिए इस 22-23 के बजट में निर्धारित किया गया है. इसके लिए माननीय मैं रेल मंत्री जी को, माननीय वित्त मंत्री को, प्रधानमंत्री जी को बधाई देना चाहूँगा.
212 में हमने पीर पंजाल की 11 किलोमीटर से लंबी सुरंग बनाकर जम्मू कश्मीर को रेल से जोड़ा. मैं खुद भी गया था एक 11 किलोमीटर का सुरंग ये करते हुए. और जम्मू तवी उधमपुर लाइन 13 अप्रैल 2005 को पूरा किया, उसका भी क्रेडिट आप ले रहे हैं। बारामुल्ला से काजीगुंड लाइन 28 अक्टूबर 2009 को पूरी हुआ। वैष्णव देवी यात्रा के लिए कटरा तक रेल पहुंचाने का काम भी हमने किया और नॉर्थ ईस्ट की ज्यादातर प्रोजेक्ट्स यूपीए की देन है।
The opening of a new railway line from Tanjavur to Pudukkottai, the survey for which had been completed and submitted by the British just before independence. Even few years back, a survey was done again, but it was shelved. If it is completed, around 60 kilometers will be reduced from Rameshwaram to Chennai in main line and also the fuel cost. This long-standing request of passengers from Rameshwaram is not only from Tamil Nadu, it's from all over India because people visit from all over India to that place.
The main demand is always rising from 1984 onwards when I was Deputy Speaker in the Lok Sabha, when Madhav Sindhya was Railway Minister at that time. A newer railway line between Jolarpet and Bangalore via Hosur, Bargur and Krishnagiri has been our demand for several decades. This has been surveyed many times, but it has to come to the force, already announced. I hope that it will come, sir.
I want to request the Railway Minister. Sir, government has announced 400 Vande Bharat trains. I would like to request, Kerala requires, people want fast mode of travel. Kerala requires fast mode of travel. At present, the double lining is going on. I would request that the railway be pleased to sanction a third railway line.
The government has increased the budget on education, crossing 1 lakh crore rupees for the first time. In a response to a supplementary question during the question hour, Minister of State for Education Subhash Sarkar said that the centre and the states have to work together to increase the public investment in education sector to reach 6% of the GDP at the earliest.
The total GDP, percentage of GDP from 4.07 to 4.39 we have come. But at the same time, we have not given a long jump only, we have given a hop step jump. Regarding our spending of budget in education sector. It is for your information, that is a percentage of GDP, we are much higher than China. If we consider about the BRICS countries, but definitely, because with our honorary leadership, our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, in this year, we'll achieve further in a better way.
0 hour was disrupted in the upper house on Wednesday. Rajya Sabha Chairman Venkaiah Naidu adjourned the house till 12 noon amid sloganeering by opposition parties demanding discussion over increase in price of fuels. Chairman clarified that he considered the notice tendered by the opposition, but the issue could not be discussed under Rule 267 notice.
So that means you are not interested in other public issues. What can I do? What is all this? What is all this? Let the names of the people who are carrying this placards be put in the bulletin and be released to the public for information. The house is adjourned to meet at 12 noon.
Earlier, Lok Sabha proceedings were also adjourned for around 20 minutes as opposition members disrupted the House over rise in fuel prices. As the question hour began, members from the Congress, TMK, TMC and other parties stormed the well of the House raising slogans. Members from the TRS, BSP and SP also joined the protests but remained on their seats. Amid the uproar, Speaker Om Birla repeatedly urged the members to go back to their seats and allow the House to function. With opposition refusing to relent, he adjourned the proceedings till 12 noon.
आप इस विषय पर सीट पे जाएं, मैं आपको इस बुनियादी सवाल पर भी आपको मौका दूंगा, लेकिन सदन को नियोजित तरीके से स्थगित कराना ये हमारी संसदीय परंपराओं के अनुसार नहीं है। आप नियोजित तरीके से सदन को स्थगित कर जिस तरीके का व्यवहार कर रहे हैं, आचरण कर रहे हैं, ये उच्च सदन की मर्यादा नहीं है।
Several matters of urgent public importance were raised during the zero hour in Lok Sabha. Congress MP Sonia Gandhi urged the centre to restart the midday meal scheme in schools, which was discontinued during the COVID-19 pandemic. Nirmala MP Pratima Mondal urged the MEA to bring a bill to the help of distressed women in NRI marriages.
महामारी शुरू होने के बाद से हमारे बच्चों को जो हमारा भविष्य है उन्हें सबसे ज़्यादा नुकसान हुआ है। मैं आपसे आपके माध्यम से केंद्र सरकार से आग्रह करती हूं कि ICDS कार्यक्रम के तहत गरम और पका हुआ भोजन फिर से शुरू किया जाए और मिड डे मील को भी तुरंत शुरू किया जाना चाहिए।
There are more than 40,000 women in India who have been abandoned by their non-resident Indian husbands. In more than 50% of the cases, women are also harassed by their husband's family. The National Commission for Women received 2,846 complaints from women who had been abandoned between 2017 and 2021. The Standing Committee also noted that 5,298 complaints related to NRI marital grievances.
Parliament today paid homage to freedom fighters Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev on the 91st anniversary of their martyrdom today. Sardar Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev laid down their lives on 23rd of March in the year 1931, exemplifying great valor and unflinching patriotism towards motherland. Both the houses observed a minute's silence to pay homage to the martyrs.
Members, to carry forward the legacy of cooperation, unity and fraternity, it is our bounden duty to sensitize our fellow citizens of the invaluable contributions of our freedom fighters in general and this heroic trio in particular towards achieving freedom of our nation. The celebration of the Azadi Ka Amrita Mahotsav with one of the themes on freedom struggle is a commendable step in paying our tributes and heartfelt gratitude towards our freedom fighters. On this day, let us resolve to uphold the cherished values for which these martyrs lived and laid down their lives. I request the members to rise in their places and observe silence as a mark of respect to the memory of these brave martyrs.
माननीय सदस्यगण, आज हम इन अमर शहीदों के साथ साथ उन सभी स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों को भी याद कर रहे हैं जिन्होंने हमारे देश की स्वतंत्रता के लिए अपना सर्वस्व न्योछावर किया और एक स्वाधीन सशक्त राष्ट्र की नींव रखी। आज जब हम आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव मना रहे हैं, तब इन अमर शहीदों की पुण्य स्मृति को नमन करते हुए स्वयं के जीवन में राष्ट्र को सर्वोपरि रखने का संकल्प लें।
That's all we have in this edition of House Highlight. We'll come back again tomorrow with the details of what transpired in both houses of Parliament. Till then, keep watching Sansad Television. Thank you.